Rustic shop, silent vet, unseen. No one asked about his past. Until that morning, when a group of Navy SEALs arrived and walked into the shop and stood at attention. They said nothing, asked nothing, just raised their hands in salute like before a high-ranking officer. The youngest one spoke, just one sentence. "We know who you are." And so began one of the veteran stories that would silence an entire town. This is Justice for Veterans. And today's story will make you see the forgotten in a whole new light. Frank Mulligan, 82 years old. He lived in a small room behind his own rust-covered auto shop. No signboard, no ads, no customers, just a few beat-up cars and a crackling AM radio every morning. He came to my diner every day. Always the same corner table. Black coffee, no sugar, no milk, no conversation. Only once did he look at me and say, "I used to fix helicopters. Now I fix Chevys." I smiled. He didn't. To the town, Frank was background noise. Just an old man stuck in the past. No one knew or cared what he had once done. Until that day, that morning, I saw something I hadn't seen in 15 years living here. A military jeep pulled up in front of the auto shop. 5 soldiers stepped out, polished boots, crisp uniforms, movements in sync like a scene from a movie. But they didn't bring weapons, and they weren't looking for anyone. They walked in and lined up in front of Frank. 1 second, 2, 5. Then the youngest stepped forward. He saluted, voice firm, steady. "Sir, your identity has been confirmed." Frank said nothing, just looked at each one like he was seeing faces from another world. Then turned away, didn't speak. But I saw this hand, trembling. That night, I couldn't sleep. The image of Frank standing still, before those soldiers kept replaying. I started looking for clues, starting at his usual table. Underneath it, I once saw an old wooden box dusty, its lock rusted shut. Years ago, he accidentally dropped it. I remembered what was inside: a worn American flag, a badge with the word "Bravo," and a handwritten letter, its signature nearly faded. Today, I followed that memory to the town library. Found nothing. No military record, no old news, no photos from his youth. On paper, Frank Mulligan had never existed, or had been erased. I started looking more closely. Inside the shop, the only thing cleaned daily was an old map, marked in red ink mountain ranges, borders, military symbols, things no mechanic needs. On the wall hung a tiny black and white photo. 6 soldiers in thick gear, sun-darkened faces, eyes locked on the camera. In the bottom corner, faint pencil handwriting read, "SEAL Team Bravo, Operation Frostline, 1971, a mission, a Special Forces team." And according to leaked classified files, the entire Bravo team had died. But if Frank was there, how did he survive? I started noticing the little things. Frank would flinch at the clatter of dropped tools. One day, I saw him frozen, staring at a spark plug like it was a weapon. They called him cold, but I saw it differently. He was still fighting every day, in his mind. Once, I casually mentioned war during lunch. He looked up, eyes distant. "I lost my whole team. I survived. Doesn't mean it's something to be proud of." Then he stood up, left his coffee half full. That moment, I realized his silence wasn't forgetfulness. It was memory, too vivid to bear. A week later, the youngest SEAL returned. His name was Evan Brooks. He stepped into the diner, cap low, hands calloused from training. "Is he okay?" he asked. I nodded. But he hasn't spoken since that day. Evan placed an old envelope on the table. Yellowed paper. Navy SEAL stamp. "We found this in the SEAL Foundation archives. Handwritten. No named recipient. But now we know who it was for." He read aloud. "Frank Mulligan, the one who kept us alive. No medals needed. You preserve the honor of us all." Evan looked at me. "He didn't just survive. He's the reason we're here at all." The next day, A woman appeared at the shop. Mid-30s, tied back brown hair, a perfectly fitted old military jacket. In her hands an old wooden box. She walked in slowly, placed the box on the workbench, and looked up at Frank. "Mr. Mulligan, I'm Emily Dawson, granddaughter of Robert Dawson, your teammate who didn't make it." Frank froze. His eyes dropped to the box, then back to her face. That look, I'd never seen it before, like time itself had stopped. Emily opened the box. Inside, a folded American flag and a yellowed letter. Before my grandfather left, he wrote, "If I don't return, find Frank. He'll understand." Frank nodded gently. His eyes began to fill. Before everyone's eyes, Emily lifted the folded triangle flag with both hands. Her movements were slow, like holding a heavy piece of memory. Then she opened the box. Inside was a medal. No name, not from the government, but from the Seal Historical Foundation, a place that honors those never listed in the books. Engraved on it, "For service above silence." Emily offered it to Frank with both hands. He accepted it, quietly, calloused hands trembling, and for the first time since I'd known him, Frank spoke. "I thought they'd forgotten." Emily smiled, her voice steady. "We never forget." Word of Frank Mulligan spread like ripples on a still lake. The townspeople who once walked past him without a glance began returning. A little boy brought cookies. A carpenter fixed the broken gate. An old lady hung a flower basket by the porch. No big speeches, no one called him a hero, but every small act felt like healing something long left broken. Frank didn't refuse, but he didn't say thank you either. Just one sentence. "I never asked for anything. I was just doing my job." For the first time in decades, children's laughter filled the old shop, and Frank, still seated there, watched quietly, surrounded by moments he never expected. One late autumn afternoon, the town square saw a small bronze plaque installed. No stage, no speakers, no ribbons, just an old wooden chair placed before it. Frank was invited, wore his worn black shoes and simple khaki jacket. The plaque read, "To those who bore the burden silently, so others could return home." The mayor stepped forward. No speech, just a bow. Frank stared at the plaque, then spoke slowly, not to anyone in particular. "I don't need this, but if it's for my brothers, then thank you." And in that moment, the whole square fell silent. Not for the ceremony, but because, for the first time, they truly listened. A week after the tribute, the town council met urgently. No debates, no drawn-out votes. Unanimous agreement. The road beside the auto shop would be renamed. From that day, the town map bore a new name. Silent Service Way. A street for those who served in silence. The green sign was placed right where Frank often sat, coffee in hand, eyes toward the setting sun. When they finished, someone asked him, "Is it okay, Frank?" He looked at the sign, smiled faintly, and nodded. "This is good. They'd like this better than a statue." No one said more, and maybe nothing more needed to be said. 3 years later, on a chilly winter morning, Frank Mulligan didn't open his shop. Joe Carter, that's me, went to check. Found the lights still on, coffee still warm. Frank lay on his old leather chair, eyes closed, hand resting on the folded flag. He had passed, silently, just as he had lived. News spread fast beyond the town. A week later, dozens of SEALs arrived from across the states. No dress uniforms, no honor guard, just 2 lines flanking the grave. Heads bowed, no words spoken. Each left a military coin on his Gravian unspoken code. "We came, you are never alone." In the cold wind, the flag outside the shop fluttered gently, and that road still bore his name. No monument, no medal, no long biography or engraved portrait. Frank Mulligan's grave bore only one line. He never asked for this. People just knew. No rank, no unit, no mention of glory or war. But everyone who visited understood, because some men don't need to be spoken of. They lived, gave, kept their word, and that very silence is what makes them unforgettable. Frank Mulligan never needed medals. But justice isn't always found in courts. It lives in how we remember, how we bow our heads, how we stay silent, but never indifferent. There are thousands like Frank. They don't speak up, they don't tell their stories, they ask for nothing. But that doesn't mean they don't deserve to be heard. If you ever meet someone like Frank, don't just walk past. Stop. Salute them. Because you might be standing before a chapter of history America hasn't written down yet. This is Justice for Veterans, where we tell the stories the world forgot. And you are the one keeping those memories alive.